The golden sun was melting behind the tall glass towers of Nairobi City. Inside a shining black Range Rover, Amara, a woman in her mid-30s, stared quietly through the tinted window. Her diamond earrings sparkled with every turn of the car, yet her eyes, deep brown and lonely, reflected something else, something missing. Her assistant, seated in front, kept talking about her next meeting, the business deals, the awards her company had just won. But Amara wasn't listening. Her mind had drifted far, to a time when life wasn't wrapped in gold. Back then, she wasn't CEO Amara Cade, Africa's most admired fashion magnate. She was just a poor girl from Kibera, laughing barefoot under the rain, holding hands with Jamal, the only man who truly loved her when she had nothing. But time had changed everything. Amara's mother had fallen sick, bills had piled up, and Jamal, despite all his love, couldn't help much. He was a simple mechanic. One day, when opportunity came, an internship abroad, Amara left. She promised Jamal she'd return, that their love would never die. She never did. 15 years later, her car stopped at a red light downtown. Crowds crossed the road. Vendors shouted, and that's when Amara's heart froze. Near the pavement, among the dusty street beggars and broken souls, stood a man, thin, rugged, holding a cardboard sign. For a second, she couldn't breathe. That face, those eyes, it was Jamal. He looked older, unshaven, tired. But it was him, her Jamal. A rush of emotion hit her chest. Guilt, disbelief, shame, nostalgia, all at once. She blinked rapidly, trying to believe it wasn't real. But it was. "Ma'am, we're moving," said her driver. "No, stop here," she whispered. The car pulled aside. Amara slowly opened the door, stepped out into the noise, the dust, the eyes of people who could never imagine the billionaire woman standing there had once belonged to this world. Jamal was turning away when she spoke. "Jamal?" He froze. The cardboard fell from his hand. Their eyes met. For a long second, the world around them disappeared. Then his face changed, surprise into bitterness. "Amara?" he said, his voice hoarse. She nodded, tears swelling. "I can't believe it's really you." He looked away. "Neither can I." Her assistant hurried forward. "Ma'am, please, let's go. People are staring." But Amara didn't move. "Jamal, what happened to you?" she asked softly. "You were always so strong, so proud." "How did you end up here?" He laughed, bitter and hollow. "How?" "Life happened, Amara. You wouldn't know." Her eyes filled with tears. "I want to help you. Please, come with me. Let me fix this." He looked at her, really looked at her. The expensive perfume, the pearls, the polished shoes. "You can't fix the past," he said coldly. "You broke it." Before she could speak again, he turned away, walked into the shadows of the street. Amara stood there, the city lights flashing across her wet eyes. As memories flooded back like WV that night, Amara couldn't sleep. She lay on her silk bed, surrounded by luxury, but inside, her heart was burning with guilt. The face of Jamal haunted her every time she closed her eyes. She could still hear his voice, broken and bitter. "You can't fix the past." But Amara had made up her mind. She would fix it, no matter what it took. The next morning, she ordered her security team to find the man she had met on the street. They searched the area, asked the vendors, even checked shelters. After hours, her driver returned. "Ma'am, we found him," he said. "He works at a small garage outside the city. Lives in a tiny room behind it." Amara's heart thudded. She didn't wait. She grabbed her coat and left. The garage was old, half-broken, smelling of oil and dust. And there he was, Jamal, fixing an engine, his hands dirty, his clothes torn. When he saw the black Range Rover stop outside, his face tightened. "Amara," he muttered, "why are you here?" She stepped out gracefully, her heels clicking on the concrete floor. "I told you, I want to help." He wiped his hands with a rag, not looking at her. "You shouldn't have come here." "I had to," she said softly. "You saved me once, Jamal. You believed in me when no one else did. Please, let me do the same for you." He gave a half laugh. "Saved you? You left me." Her eyes shimmered with tears. "I know. I was scared, Jamal. Poor, desperate. I thought success would fill the emptiness. But it didn't." He stared at her, silent. The sound of rain began to fall outside, tapping gently on the metal roof. Amara reached into her bag and handed him an envelope. "This is not pity," she said. "It's a start, a job offer in my company. You're still one of the smartest people I've known. I need someone I can trust." Jamal hesitated. He looked at the envelope, then at her eyes. The same eyes that once held his dreams. Finally, he took it. "Fine," he said quietly. "But don't expect anything more than work between us." A faint smile crossed her lips. "That's all I ask." 2 weeks later, Jamal walked into Cade Luxe, Amara's global fashion empire. Everyone stared, the man in a plain shirt among suits and luxury. But Amara introduced him proudly. "This is our new project manager. Treat him with respect." Rumors spread like wildfire. Who is he? Why does the boss care so much about that man? Amara ignored them. For the first time in years, she felt peace. But peace doesn't last long when the past still hides secrets. One evening, after most employees had left, Jamal was alone in the office going through files. He found a folder marked Cade Foundation, Medical Projects. Inside were photos, documents, a name that froze him. Dr. Peter Cade, founder. He stared in disbelief. Cade, Amara's last name. And then, a hospital record. Patient, Jamal Otieno, accident case, 2013. Next to it, status payment denied. Jamal's breath caught. He remembered that year. The accident that nearly cost him his leg. The hospital had refused to treat him because he couldn't pay. And now, he realized whose foundation owned that hospital. Amara's. He stood still, shaking with anger. She had known. All these years, she had owned the hospital that turned him away. The love he thought was lost was betrayal in disguise. Night had fallen over Nairobi. The city lights glittered across the skyline like golden lies. Inside her glass office, Amara stood alone, gazing down at the streets that once held her memories. She didn't know Jamal was already walking toward her, rage burning behind his calm eyes. He burst through the door, holding the hospital folder in his hand. "Tell me," he said, voice trembling. "Tell me this isn't true." Amara turned, startled. "Jamal, what's wrong?" He threw the folder onto her desk. Papers scattered like falling leaves. "This," he said. "Your hospital. Your foundation. It refused to treat me when I was dying. You knew, Amara." "You knew!" She froze, color draining from her face. Her lips parted, but no words came out. Jamal's voice cracked with pain. "I begged those doctors. They said no payment, no surgery. You could have saved me. You had everything." Amara stepped closer, shaking. "I didn't know, Jamal. I swear on my mother's grave, I didn't know. That hospital, it was under Peter's name." He frowned. "Peter?" She nodded, tears filling her eyes. "My husband. Dr. Peter Cade. He founded the charity in my name, but he ran it I trusted him completely. Jamal's jaw tightened. So you're saying it was him? Yes, she whispered. And that's not all. She walked to her desk, opened a drawer, and pulled out a file she'd been hiding for months. I found these last week, she said, handing it to him. Invoices, fake contracts, missing funds. Peter's been stealing from the foundation for years. When I confronted him, he said if I told anyone, he'd destroy me. Jamal scanned the documents, anger fading into shock. You mean your husband? Amara nodded. He's not who he pretends to be. He's been laundering money through the foundation and using my name to cover it. And the worst part, he's planning to leave the country next week with everything. Jamal stared at her. Everything he thought he knew twisted in a single breath. I wanted to tell someone, she said quietly, but who would believe me? Everyone sees me as the perfect woman with a perfect life. I built an empire, but my marriage was a prison. Her voice cracked. When I saw you that day on the street, it felt like God was giving me one more chance to do something right. Jamal lowered the file. His eyes softened, though the pain still lingered. So you brought me back, because you trust me? Amara met his gaze. Because you're the only one I ever trusted. Silence filled the room. Heavy, fragile, electric. Then, from behind the glass doors, a slow clap echoed. Clap. Clap, clap. Both turned. There stood Dr. Peter Cade. Tall, charming, in a gray suit and a smile that didn't reach his eyes. Well, well, he said. What a touching reunion. Amara's face turned pale. Peter, what are you doing here? He stepped forward, holding his phone up. Recording, my dear. The police will love this. My wife and her ex plotting to ruin me. Jamal clenched his fists. You snake. Peter smirked. Watch your words, mechanic. You have no idea who you're dealing with. Amara stepped in front of Jamal. Stop it, Peter. I have proof of everything. I'm not scared anymore. Peter's smile vanished. You think anyone will believe you over me? I own the board. I own the press. And soon, I'll own your company too. He turned to leave, but Jamal grabbed his arm. Not if I stop you first. Peter glared at him, then suddenly struck, a hard punch to Jamal's jaw. The office erupted in chaos, glass shattering, papers flying. Jamal fought back, knocking Peter into the glass wall. Enough, Amara screamed. Security rushed in, pulling them apart. Peter wiped blood from his lip, glaring at Amara. This isn't over, he hissed. You'll regret this. He stormed out. Amara sank to the floor, trembling. Jamal knelt beside her. It's over, he said softly. He won't get away with this. But deep inside, both knew this war had only begun. Days passed like storms. The city buzzed with rumors, whispers of corruption, betrayal, and a billionaire couple under investigation. Amara hadn't left her mansion in 3 days. Her once glamorous world was now a cage of anxiety and flashing camera lights. Jamal stayed by her side, helping her gather evidence. Together, they planned to expose Peter and clear her name. But Peter was always one step ahead. One evening, Amara received a message. It was from Peter. Meet me at the old villa tonight. Alone. Let's end this before it goes too far. Jamal begged her not to go. It's a trap, he warned. But Amara shook her head. If I don't face him now, he'll destroy everything. My company, my name, everything I built. Jamal sighed, then whispered, At least let me stay nearby. She nodded faintly. That night, rain poured like the heavens themselves were mourning. Amara arrived at the old villa, the same place she and Peter once called their honeymoon home. The lights were dim. The air smelled of dust and danger. "Peter?" she called softly. No answer. Then, a shadow moved behind her. Peter stepped into the light, his face calm, almost gentle. "I never wanted it to end like this, Amara," he said. "Then stop," she pleaded. "Turn yourself in. We can fix this before it's too late." He smiled sadly. "You still don't understand. There is no fixing it. I built this empire on lies, and you built yours on leaving the people who loved you." She froze. "What are you talking about?" Peter took out a small envelope from his coat. Inside was an old photo of Amara and Jamal years ago, holding hands under the rain. "I found this the day I met you," he said. "I knew about him from the beginning, and I made sure he never came back into your life." Amara's eyes widened. "What did you do?" Peter's voice turned cold. "That accidents that crippled him for years." "It wasn't fate, Amara. It was me," she gasped. You ruined his life? I saved yours," he hissed. "You would have stayed poor with him. I gave you the world." Amara's tears turned to fury. "You gave me a nightmare." At that moment, the door burst open. Jamal appeared, drenched from the rain, holding his phone, recording everything. "Got every word," he said. Peter's face turned pale. "You." Before he could finish, he lunged forward, trying to snatch the phone. A struggle broke out. Shouts, the sound of furniture crashing, thunder roaring outside. Amara screamed, "Jamal, stop!" Then, a single gunshot. The world went silent. Peter stood frozen, the gun trembling in his hand. Jamal collapsed to the floor, blood spreading across his shirt. Amara fell to her knees, screaming his name. "Jamal." "No, please!" Peter dropped the gun, staring at what he'd done. I didn't mean." Amara looked up at him, eyes blazing with grief and hatred. "You took everything from me twice." She grabbed the gun with shaking hands. "Now I'll take back what you destroyed." Sirens wailed outside. The police stormed in. And in that chaos, Peter raised his hands. But Amara didn't shoot. She looked down at Jamal's lifeless body and whispered, "No revenge will bring him back." She dropped the gun, tears streaming down her face. A year passed. The world had changed. Peter Cade was sentenced to life in prison. The Cade Foundation was rebuilt under a new name, the Jamal Trust, helping poor families across Africa. Amara stood at the ribbon-cutting ceremony, dressed in white, her face calm yet marked by pain. A journalist asked softly, "Ms. Amara, what made you start this foundation?" She smiled faintly. "Because once I forgot what love truly means. Now I'll never forget again." The crowd applauded. But as she turned away, a single tear fell, one that carried both heartbreak and peace. Sometimes life gives us gold, but takes away the soul. Amara learned that true wealth isn't in diamonds or cars. It's in hearts we keep, not the ones we break. Because betrayal may end love, but guilt keeps it alive forever. Sometimes life gives you gold, but takes away your heart. Amara won the world, yet lost her love. If this story touched your heart, please subscribe to African Tales for more stories of love, betrayal, and fate that will leave you breathless. Hit that subscribe button, and we'll meet again in the next story where love and betrayal face each other once more.